Okay, so let's get this on the road again. Finished 7.2. Move on to 7.3. Okay, whilst that loads, oh, we did actually already read it. So the first part, they say use the following basis to determine the manufacturing overhead application rate. Round it off to 2 decimal places. Okay. So direct material costs. That's the first one. Again, there you can see, for the information provided, you can see manufacturing overhead costs. Okay, so we use 651,260. So we're going to use that same cost for all of them. So 651. Just going to quickly copy and paste this. Give it a okay. Again, we're doing the same thing again, divided by direct materials cost, which we have here as 326,790. Okay, so I'm going to quickly type these up if you guys can do the calculations very quickly. Next one is direct labor cost, which is 478. 200. Direct labor hours, we have 98,050 hours, labor hours. And we have 37,980 hours. Okay. Right. So what we have as our rate for direct overhead application rate for direct materials cost. Again, this is going to be a percentage. Somebody have it there for me? 99%. Okay, thank you very much. Okay, go to the next one, also going to be a percentage. What do we get? I see you gentlemen are calculating something. What do you guys get? You're first going to get it to maybe the rand, one unit, and then get some decimals. No, in this case, yeah. Get some decimals. 1 point something. 1.36 times by 100, and then we're going to have 136. That's rounded off to 2 decimal places, right? 136. In the next one, we're going to say rand per hour, and this is per labor hour. So what do we get over there? We get about 7 upwards, something like that. Just using my mind here. So we're saying 651, 260 divided by 8, 250. Okay, I've got 6 rand and 63 cents rounded up to this. You know, if you're getting the same thing or not getting the same thing. So again, 651, 260 divided by 37, 980. Okay. Yeah, I get R 17.15. Rounded up to this. What is this? Machine hour. Okay. So far, so good. Nothing. Okay. We've played around with that before. Okay. Okay. So here, what are they asking for us to do here? They're saying, prepare a schedule showing the amount of overhead that would be applied to job 78 using each application rate. Okay, cool. Assume the following data for the job. Okay. So here we're saying direct cost. Let me scroll up just a bit. Hopefully we can squeeze in. Yes. Perfect. Okay. So here we're saying, okay, for direct materials cost, okay, when it comes to job 70, what data have they given us for direct materials cost? They've told us that the data there is 3,000, 618. Okay, now the rate that we calculated, all right, you can see it there, it's the 199%. Okay, so then what we are saying is 199%. So basically what we're saying is 199% times this direct material cost for job 78 will then give us our estimated manufacturing overhead for the job. All right, based on this basis. Does it make sense? Okay, so so remember that's percentage. So what you're going to have to do is you're going to have to divide by 100. So it's going to be 1.99 times that 3,618. Okay, which gives me 7,000. 199.82. Okay, again, that's rands, huh? Okay. Right. Then direct labor. They've told us direct labor costs for job 78 is 4,000. 980. And what did we calculate there for labor costs? Yep, it was 136%. 136%. So again, we then say this 4,980 times 1.36. Okay, and then we should get 6,707.8. Right. So far, so good. Right. So I think the big challenge is structuring in such a way that you can easily make sense of what you're doing, how you're moving from one place to the next. Okay. Then direct labor hours. They've told us that we have 1,580 hours. Okay. All right. And then the rate for labor hours is 6.63 per hour. Okay. No problem. So we say 6.63 times 1580, and I'm getting 10,075.4. Okay, yeah. Last one. Last one is machine hours, and they've told us this job took 465 machine hours. Okay. We calculated to be 17.15. Okay, per machine hour. Then we say 17.15 times the total number of machine hours, 465. I'm getting 974.75. Right. So are you noticing the amounts that we're getting are very different? Remember what we're calculating here. This is your budgeted manufacturing overhead. All right. How much we're going to allocate in terms of our manufacturing overhead. And we can never use all the bases. We will always choose one for the job or the product. Does that make sense? So here they're just making us get comfortable with doing the same thing, but then using different bases. Does that make sense? Right. So we finished that third bit. The last thing they want us to do is calculate the total cost of job 78 using various bases. So we're continuing the same thing, but can you see here we were only calculating the overhead cost. Now we want to calculate the total job using the various bases, okay? So what we are then going to do, scroll down. Okay, so I've just done us a favor to save us time. Remember what I told you? The total cost of the job or of a product, you know that it is material cost or your direct material cost. Then your labor cost or your direct labor cost, plus your manufacturing overhead. Okay? That's your manufacturing overhead. So here it would actually be a duplication of what we just did. Because basically you'd be putting in the data to say for direct material cost, you know that we spent 3,000 something. Okay, so what I'm going to do is it's better for us to just copy the overhead cost. This one, yeah. I think what I should have done here is actually just, maybe let's retitle this. lives easier. So what I'm going to do is this. I'm going to just do plug that in over here. So we don't duplicate what we've already. Okay. And then what I'm going to do here, say, all right. Let's do this. Right. Here's my. Oh, there we go. There we go. So you guys wrote it down. What was our direct materials overhead cost? Calculate up top in the third part that we did. 7,000. 1, yes. 9, 9 again. 2 cents. 80. Thank you, sir. Right. Then this one I can see 677. 80. 10. 75.40. 7, 9, 74.75. Okay. Total cost, we simply are then adding these amounts here. Get our total cost. All right, so we are doing the right thing. Cool. Anybody want to give me the calculate the second one while someone is doing the first one? Second one, 3. I know what you could do if you wanted to make it quick, is to quickly just add these two, because you're going to get the same. Can you see it's the same throughout? So add your material cost and your labor cost, 3,618 plus 4,980. That gives us 8,598. Okay, so just remember that number, 8,598 plus 799.82. Okay. 99.82. Okay, I'm getting here 15,797.82. Okay, and let me erase that. Plus 677.2.80. Okay, here I'm getting 15,370.80. Okay, and fish, I removed that number. I said 8,500 and how much? And 80. 93. 98. Just that, huh? 8,598. Okay. Then plus this 10,000, 475.40. Okay, I'm getting 9,073.40. Here, right, 7974.75. Okay, here I'm getting 16,572.75. All right. So let me just delete this here. Right. So again, you do this with a different basis, but I'm sure you now get the point that typically they will tell you in a question, okay, and the base that you use is direct materials, or even let's just say machine hours, okay, or direct labor, because we used machine hours in the last question. But direct labor hours is your base. They'll tell you that in the question. They'll tell you what were the budget. Then they tell you that this is the base, so you know then you're going to need to divide that that budgeted manufacturing overheads by the direct labor hours, all right, so that you can then get your base, all right, so that you can then use your rate, so that you can then get your rate. Once you get your rate, you then now need to times by the number of labor hours anticipated for this job or this product. You'll then get this overhead cost, all right? Then you just add it with this given information. Either they'll give you the information as to the exact materials cost and the exact labor cost, or they'll tell you, we bought X amount of kgs of direct material. And then they'll tell you the cost per kg is 5 rand. So then you know you need to times the 2 in order to get the material cost. Does that make sense? If they tell you, okay, we use X amount of labor hours, the cost per labor hour was 10 rand. You then do the same thing, you have this. And then obviously you just add it and you get your total cost for the job. Okay? So that's how we typically do it. All right. So that is 7.3. I want us to just do 7.4. Once we've dialed to 7.4, I want us to then just talk about spoilage, and the illustration is right in front of us, so it won't be too taxing on your minds. It's just about making sure that we know how to do it should we in the exam. Right. Question 7.4. Now, as it loads, let's right. So 7.4 is literally just an application of everything we've just gone through. Okay, but now they are bringing it to a specific job. All right, and here we're now filling in the job card. Okay, we won't be doing it on the screen, filling in the job card, but because I felt like it will actually just confuse you filling it in there in the job card, but you guys should just look at the answers in the back of your textbook. You do have the answers to every exercise in the back of your textbook, right? So have a look at it, but I feel like the way I've structured it is just to make sure you understand how we actually are arriving at the numbers and the answers. Because then when once you've calculated the answers, you then take those answers and then just plug it into that sheet that they've given, just to make your life easier, right? Because I felt like if we did it the way they wanted to, you wouldn't see how we are connecting everything we've done so far today into answering the question. Okay. Right. Anyway, I've said enough. Under the required, they say there, calculate the predetermined overhead absorption rate for each department. We've done it. Okay. Second bit, complete a job cost chart TT321, which indicates the following: cost of job TT321. All right. Total cost. Then secondly, this part we haven't done, but shouldn't be a problem for you guys. The selling price of the job, TT321, if the company wishes to make a gross profit of 20% on cost. Okay, so that shouldn't be a problem for us because we know we've dealt with this in our accounting 1A, 1B, you name it. So let's read the information up top. We now know what is required of us. It says the following information can be used in the job cost card. All right, not really important. That's just copy and paste. Okay. Right. Key limit is using a job costing method. Manufacturing overheads are absorbed on the basis of direct labor hours. Okay, can you see they've given us the base? Okay, so you circle that or you highlight it. Then you go on, it goes on to say, the budgeted figures in respect of manufacturing overheads 2009 are as follows. Okay, budgeted overhead, sorry, budgeted figures. Okay, budgeted figures. So for department assembling, our manufacturing overheads are 54,000. Okay, so it's now specific to department. Okay, for department polishing, our manufacturing overheads is 82,500. Okay, right. And let's finish up. Direct labor hours, our base, right? Our base for department assembling is 13,500. For department polishing, it is 15,000. Okay, cool. Right, then to tell us, during January 2009, the following costs were incurred on job TT321. Direct materials, 45 kgs at 24 Rand per kg. It's almost like I was already talking exactly what this question is asking us, all right, unknowingly. Then direct labor, it says department 27 hours at 5 Rand, 25 cents per hour, okay. Then department polishing, 48 hours at 6 Rand 90 hour. So what's going on here? We have a product, all right, or a job. Sorry, this is a job, not a product, but it's the same principle. We have a job that has gone through two departments, department assembling and department polishing. They both need to work on this in order to complete the job. Does it make sense? Okay, so, but before we can delve into the actual cost of the job, what we need to do is to find out the overhead absorption rate. That's the first thing we need to do before we can begin to work out what the cost of the job is. And that's why I've built that little table over there. And I need you guys to help me with this. For department assembly, what was the budgeted overheads? They said it in the table. I think it was 54,000. Is that right? 54,000. Okay. And they told us at the very beginning of the question that the base was direct labor hours. Okay. So we're looking now. What is the direct labor hours for assembly? How much is in the table there? 17,000? 13,500. Okay. So 13,500. Then we know that in order to get our absorption rate, we then simply say budgeted manufacturing overheads divided by our base to get our rate. So let's quickly do that and see what we come up with. what we get. So 54,000 divided by, I said plus, divided by 13,500. Okay, I get 4. So in other words, this is 4 Rand per labor hour. Okay, we have our first rate. Okay, then we here, what was our budgeted manufacturing overhead? It was 82,500. Then, what was our direct labor hours? 15,000. So then what now is our rate? Let's quickly calculate that. So that's 82,500 divided by 15,000. Okay, 5.5. Okay, so 5 Rand and 50 cents per hour. Okay. We have our absorption rate. Okay, we have our absorption rates, and remember we use these absorption rates to calculate manufacturing over heads. Okay, so now we come and we say part 2. What are they asking us? To now calculate the cost of the job. Okay, so this is the job order sheet. I think it's TT. Is it TT? Yeah, TT321. Okay. We know that if you look there, under the table, it says during January, the following costs were incurred on job TT321. Okay. So for direct material, okay, it doesn't say which department, all right? So for there, it doesn't actually pertain to the department. So maybe let me do this, just to make it like kind of nice and neat. What I'm going to do is this. Insert a column there. And I'll do that to the, yeah, to the left. Okay. So here, and I think just in the interest of kind of not making a muck of things messy, what I'm going to do, what we can do is not calculate in those boxes. So there they said direct materials is 45 kgs at 24 Rand per kg. We simply say to ourselves, okay, 45 times the 24. 45 kgs times 24. Okay, and that is giving me 1,080. So here, R1080. Okay, so that's the materials we used on this. Okay, right, cool. The cost of materials we used on this job. Then it says direct labor, department assembling, okay, 27 hours at 5 Rand 25 per hour. Remember, these are actual costs, the actual, all right? So we need that. So again, we want to quickly calculate how much direct in the assembling did we use for this job. Okay, so 27 times 5.25. Okay, I'm getting 141. 141 point. Okay, that's for assembling. But we also know that there was some direct labor for the polishing, and that was 48 hours times 690. So here, how much did we spend? We spent 331. 20. Okay, so far so good. Remember what I said, in order to get the total cost of the job, we need direct materials, we need direct labor, and then we need the manufacturing overhead. And remember I said manufacturing overhead is the same as factory overhead. Okay, so maybe let me just add another, no, it's fine. Yeah, actually let me add another row. Oh, no, I've already done that. Okay, no, it's fine. Won't add another row because I put total already. Okay, so now to calculate the manufacturing overhead or the factory overhead, we then now need to use our rates. This is where our rates now come into play. Okay, so you know that for department assembling, in terms of labor, how many hours did we use? I'm going to show the working here because I think this is very important. Can you see there, if you look at direct labor, it says, remember direct labor is our base. So we need to look for direct labor in order to get the manufacturing overhead. So if you look at department A or department assembling, they said 27 hours of labor. So times now our rate that we calculated earlier. And for department assembling, I believe it was 4 Rand per hour. Okay. Okay. And you guys will calculate that for me whilst I also get out. And the other one was for department polishing, we spent 48 hours, right? 8 hours, and the rate we did there was 5 Rand 50, I think I recall, per hour. Okay, right. So what do we get over here? How much? 21. No sense? Just 264? Okay, thank you very much. Then here, what do we get? Anybody? 4 times 27, 4 times 20, 4 times 7 is, what is called, it's 21, 28, so 108. Okay, so 108. Okay, so slot that in here as well. Just so here for department A we have 108. Okay, and here the 264. Okay. Now, remember what I told you guys? I'm just going to repeat it again. I hope I'm not boring you to death. Total cost for a product or for a job, direct material, direct labor, and then your manufacturing overhead. You add all those together, and you have your cost for the job or for the product. Okay. So to add all those up, and we get our answer in terms of total cost. Okay. Okay, so then, so plus 1080 plus 141.5 plus 108 and then plus 4. Okay, so I'm getting a total of R 1,000 924.95. So that's the rate that I'm getting for the cost of this job. Okay. And can you see here, they didn't tell us the actual manufacturing overheads. Okay. Why didn't they give us the actual manufacturing overheads? Because typically you're doing this prior to invoicing a person. Does that make sense? So comes in and says, I want job TT321. So then we say, before we can invoice them, remember when we invoice someone, you have to give them the actual price that they're going to pay. So we then have to work out roughly what the cost is going to be. So we have these application rates. Does that make sense? So now when we have the cost, I'm just going to highlight this. Make it bold. Okay. Now when we have the next thing is to say, okay, what do we want to sell this job at? What price? And that's when now they gave us the markup. Is it markup or what did they say? They said selling price, gross profit on cost price. Okay, which is your markup in essence. But oh well. So here they said on cost, so we know cost is 100. We said 20%, so we know profit is 20. That means price is 120. Okay, so then what we are saying here, let me below here. All right, don't worry, I heard some yawning. Almost done. What we want is price. What we have is cost. All right. So we say, what do we want divided by what we have times what we have right now. So 120 divided by 100, okay, and then times our cost, which is what we have, which is the 1,924.95. And can somebody tell me what that is? What is then our selling price? What are we going to sell this job for? Should be 2,000 something. Okay, so I'm saying times 1.2. So I get 2,309.2 cents. Guys getting the same thing? Right, guys. So we finished 7.1 to 7.4. And I think that's cool for today. Next time I see you, we're going to touch on 7.5, 7.6, 7.7. Okay, and that's the last time I see you guys. All right. For the most part, we are actually done because 7.5, 7.7. That's now your application of your T accounts. So that's Unit 6 now also coming into Unit 7. All right. For today, we were focusing on Unit 5 coming into Unit 7. Okay. Right. Last thing that I want us to touch on is spoilage. Okay. Now we have two things. We have abnormal spoilage and we have normal spoilage. What's the difference between the two? All right, because both is spoilage, right? Okay. When we're talking about normal spoilage, right, we anticipate that we are going to lose some units or some of the material that we have to produce our final product is going to get damaged. Okay. So when it comes to normal spoilage, we already know from past events that, hey, for every 5 units of material that we buy, 1 unit is going to get spoiled. All right? So we anticipate that and we include it into our cost of production. Does that make sense? So that we don't, if we say, okay, 5 units of material, 5 units of final product, let's just say 5 on 5 to make life easy. But if 1 is always getting spoiled, that means we're going to have 4 final units of our product. Does that make sense? So then, when we say we have 5 units completed so that we can sell them to a customer, maybe he gives us a job or an order, we're not going to go and buy 5 units of material. We're going to buy more than that. Because we know that 1 unit of material is going to get damaged, therefore we're going to fall short in terms of how much we need to produce. Makes sense? So instead of buying 5, we'll buy more, okay? So that's normal spoilage. Abnormal spoilage is when we buy 5 units of material, knowing that we're going to produce 4 units, sorry, yeah, five units of material, knowing that we're going to produce 4 final units, all right? But instead of just 1 unit getting damaged here, we get two damaged. So in other words, we can only produce 3 units of final product. Does that make sense? So that's abnormal. That extra 1 that got damaged is abnormal. It's more than what we anticipated. Does that make sense? Okay. So that's what they're then illustrating in this here, 7.5. So we can quickly just go through it. All right. So here you see it says the following information refers to job number ABX. Direct material, sorry, 8,000. Direct labor, 10,000. Overheads, 10,000. Then we get our total cost of 28,000. Cool, no problems. Then it goes on to tell us, assume that normal spoilage for all jobs amounts to 2.5% of the units entering a production line. The required material to complete 5,000 units for the job was placed in production. The total spoilage was 175 units. Okay? So, the required materials to complete 5,000 units. So what we wanted, what we required, what we needed to produce was 5,000 units. Okay? The total spoilage, however, was 125 units. Okay? The spoilage for job number ABX can be calculated as follows. Okay? So think about it like this. We already know how much units we want to produce, 5,000 units, okay? Then we are saying to ourselves, okay, no problem. We want to produce 5,000 units. What is the spoilage that we anticipate with 5,000 units? Because remember that here they tell us 2 of the total is going to be spoiled. So we need to know how much that should be. How much of that should be spoiled? So here we can quickly just, so 5,000, all right, then times 0. Okay, actually 0.025. Okay. So let's quickly, so 5,000 times 0.5, okay, sorry, 0.025. Okay. So here, the total number of units that we anticipate is 125 units. I think this is an easy way of doing it than how they did it in the exercise. Now, if you read on, they'll tell you that the spoilage, so normal spoilage is 125. Okay, they've done that. Therefore, the abnormal, all right, I skipped. They said the total spoilage was 175 units. That's what I was looking for. Can you see that's already more than what we anticipated? All right, this is normal. We anticipated that 2.5% is going to be spoiled. That's normal. But however, we see that 125 was spoiled. So then we need to say, okay, cool. How much of that was abnormal? Because that's more than what we anticipated. And I'm sure we can all do in our heads. So 175 units minus what we just calculated, you obviously are going to get 50 units. All right, so we know now 125 units is normal spoilage. We anticipated it. 50 units, abnormal spoilage. We didn't anticipate that. And that's what they're basically just breaking down there. The only thing is that now they're obviously then calculating to see, okay, how much then is it really going to cost us to complete the cost of these units. Okay, and then you can see the calculation. And it says there at the bottom, the unit comprises of a provision for normal spoilage, which is incorporated into the overhead rate used for the allocation of overheads per job. Okay, so just take note of that. Spoilage is then incorporated into the overhead rates. What do we then do with the abnormal spoilage? Anybody know? Okay, so I'll tell you now. Okay. So even here, I was hoping to read it out the textbooks. But if you see under the subtitle Spoilage 7.7, there on the paragraph, the very last sentence says, abnormal spoilage is wastage which is not anticipated and is therefore written off as a loss in the statement of comprehensive income. Now, they don't actually say it, but abnormal spoilage, we take it to cost of sales. It goes off cost of sales. And here, normal spoilage, as we said, it's incorporated in our manufacturing overhead rate. So we incorporate it there. Okay, so I just wanted to give you that full context as to then do with abnormal and normal spoilage. Guys, I don't know if there are any questions from your side, but that is all that I wanted us to do today. I think anything about this would probably be, what do they call it, overkill. Are your brains ready to press on, or should we call it a day? Okay, but nothing to worry about. We're going to finish this next time I see you. I have 2 more sessions with you. So it's just 7.5 to 7.7. So it's 3 exercises we then cover together. And then literally we're done for finance. Okay. Right. All right, cool. So I'd actually just like to ask you to please actually just